Hello and good evening. I am William Davis, and today I will be speaking about the impact of dead zones in the ocean and how this global problem can be solved. In today's world, humans have a profound impact on the world around us. The processes by which we build our cities, grow our food, clean our water, and live and interact in the world around us leaves a footprint in the earth where humans have tread. With a show of hands, how many of you would say that there is more of a negative environmental impact than a positive one? This is correct. Sadly, humans leave a net lasting negative on the earth rather than a lasting positive. The specific impact of humans on the environment that I'll focus on this evening is Gulf hypoxia. Gulf hypoxia refers to what is commonly known as a dead zone. The question then arises, how can we prevent water pollution from creating dead zones in the ocean? According to NOAA, a dead zone is an area of ocean in which there are low levels of oxygen dissolved in the water. This low concentration of oxygen prevents most marine life from being able to inhabit the area, thus damaging the ecosystem. Dead zones are caused by runoff from natural and rural areas during rains and from farming runoff. More specifically, the runoff contains nitrogen and phosphorus, among other nutrients. This nutrient runoff means it feeds marine plants and causes explosive algae growth in the affected waters. A thick top layer of algae blocks sunlight and prevents healthy marine life from growing. When the seaweed and overgrowth of algae dies, it decays, and this uses up all the oxygen in the water around it, creating a dead zone in which nearly no marine life can live. In front of me, I have 2 tubs of water to demonstrate the effects nutrient runoff has on algae growth. In one tub, I have left only lake water. The other tub contains lake water with several cups of nutrient fertilizer. Who here would say that the water with nutrient fertilizer looks far less healthy than the clear, clean tub of water? This is precisely the case. You can clearly see the excess algae growth in the container with the nutrient fertilizer. The algae that has grown blocks the sunlight from reaching down below it to any organism that may try to live there. This is meant to demonstrate in a small-scale setting what happens in the ocean when algae grows that may produce a full-size dead zone. Dead zones are a global problem. Lee Bryant is the author of an article from the online environmental website phys.org. In it, he provides examples of how damaging dead zones can be to the ecosystem. They say that the population of midwater fish, such as Pacific hockey, that are affected in a dead zone off the coast of California has decreased by up to 60% in areas of low oxygen concentration. Changes in the ecosystem of a dead zone hurt the marine life and upset the food chain in the area. A study from the University of California found that historically, in periods of low oxygen levels, ocean waters have taken up to 1,000 years to heal. Dead zones not only affect the ecosystems, they also affect aquaculture, or the farming of marine life. National Geographic has talked about the algal blooms that cause dead zones. One such instance they cite is the destruction of 90% of Hong Kong's fish farms in 1998. The damage left behind and even the causes of dead zones can hurt the fishing industry in the area. In fact, the United Nations officially declared the area around the Yangtze and Pearl Rivers in China to be a dead zone in 2006. This damage is also happening right off the southern coast of the United States. The Nature Conservancy says that because fewer fish can live in the Gulf of Mexico dead zone, fishermen have to travel farther from land and spend more money to be able to catch the fish they require to make their living. Clearly, hypoxia is a problem that is damaging the delicate ocean ecosystem. Just to demonstrate how vast and damaging the dead zones are in the Gulf of Mexico, a study from NOAA says that this particular dead zone is over 6,000 square miles and is growing. The effects are devastating to the Gulf seafood industry, which accounts for 40% of the nation's seafood, all according to the Nature Conservancy. This consequence of the dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico is surely impacting the United States' seafood markets and ecosystems. Though a problem for the U.S., Gulf hypoxia is a global problem, with the destruction of dead zones happening all over the globe. In the Baltic Sea, the effects of dead zones are impacting not only the environment, they are hurting the population of white-tailed eagles among other species. The map behind me displays areas of ocean in which there is low oxygen concentration because of Gulf hypoxia. These areas of oceanic ecosystem are being destroyed by the inability to sustain life. This is disastrous for the global ocean ecosystem. Though destructive, dead zones have a cause that can be targeted. The nutrient-rich runoff in phosphorus and nitrogen causes the algae to grow in excess. This excess algal bloom is what leads to the formation of a dead zone. If nutrient runoff that leads to the occurrence of dead zones can be eliminated so that it cannot reach the ocean, then that would stop the growth of dead zones and allow them to heal over a long-term period. It is good news then to learn that there is a solution already being used in Chicago. In the Chicago River, runoff from the land after rains and the partially treated human waste that is dumped has created a polluted river full of nutrients that is beginning to create a hypoxic region. The Chicago Tribune has listed the Chicago River as among the most threatened waterways in the U.S. due to pollutants from runoff and poorly functioning water treatment facilities. The pollution being dumped into the Chicago River has caused algal bloom and is polluting the water, causing it to be unsafe. However, another article from Chicago Tribune talks about how a technological solution being used to clean up the Chicago River is already in place. It involves converting wastewater nutrients into fertilizer. The company that has created this technology is called Ostara. They have developed a way to take the wasteful phosphorus and nitrogen elements out of wastewater and convert it into a usable fertilizer. On their website, they claim that this technology would cleanse the water, preventing dead zones from growing, and also provide a renewable source of fertilizer for the agricultural industry. Behind me now, you can see two pictures. The first shows what the processes of the phosphorus cycle leading to dead zones is as it stands today. Currently, agriculture and human use of fertilizer, creation of waste, and treatment of water are all ways that phosphorus can leak into the ecosystem, causing dead zones. The second image is the Ostara solution. This solution involves using their resource recovery technology to remove phosphorus and other nutrient runoff from the wastewater. At critical steps in the phosphorus cycle, Ostara uses different technologies to remove wasteful nutrients from the cycle. In simple terms, Ostara uses magnesium and a controlled pH level to cause the nutrients in the water to crystallize into a fertilizer that is then removed from the water. This creates both a clean source of fertilizer and clean water. The Chicago Tribune has an article that details how the solution is being used in the Chicago River. It also says that Ostara has implemented its water cleansing plants in the US, Canada, and Europe. The solution to dead zones exists, and it is currently in use. Implementing this technology across the world in areas that produce large amounts of nutrient runoff will definitely prevent nutrient runoff from creating dead zones. The solution has proven itself, and now it needs to be used around the globe in order to stop the growth in environmental and economic impact of dead zones. Thank you.